I've been regularly working remotely since 2014, and in my remote work series, I go over my tips and tricks that I use to stay happy, healthy, and productive while working remotely. In this video, I talk about 6 mistakes that remote workers make with their mental and physical health. Hi, welcome to Better with Phoebe. I'm Phoebe, and I make videos about the tips, tricks, tools, and techniques I use to get a little bit better every day. I hope this video helps you get a little bit better too. Whether you're an employee, a freelancer, or an entrepreneur, welcome to the remote revolution. Remote work is only going to become more common over time, so pat yourself on the back for getting a jump on learning how to do it well. Let's jump into it. Let's start with mistake number 6, becoming a hermit. Working from home means your normal levels of human interaction are going to really decrease, and over time you can get a little bit too comfortable with that, so it's important to intentionally schedule social time. How much depends on your own needs and preferences, but at the very least, once a week, you should reach out to a friend, family member, or professional contact that you don't normally socialize with. Don't be shy about doing it. Most likely, they'll be pleasantly surprised to hear from you. Another tip is to be expansive with the things that you ask people to do. The obvious choices are fine: coffee, FaceTime, sharing a meal. Nothing wrong with any of those, but don't be afraid to be creative. Maybe invite someone out for a movie or to see a new exhibit at your favorite museum, or check out a neighborhood that's unfamiliar to both of you. Mistake number 5, becoming too sedentary. Walking to and from the train, going from your desk to the printer, popping in and out of conference rooms, going around the corner for coffee. Believe it or not, office workers get in a lot of steps that we miss out on as remote workers. So it's really important that we make sure to get in a little bit of activity every single day. That doesn't have to mean that you hit the gym hard every single day. If that's what you choose, props to you. I know for me, my gym days are my most energetic and most productive. But if that's not really your jam, instead try scheduling 15 minutes to just go for a walk every day. Spend it calling a friend or listening to a podcast or take a meeting over the phone. Whatever it is, just make sure you're getting moving every day. Mistake number 4, overdoing it on the takeout, delivery, and junk food. When you combine this mistake with the drop in activity that we just discussed, you know what'll happen. And the best way to avoid this is to learn how to cook. Aside from an ergonomic chair, learning how to cook is the best investment you can make in your health as a remote worker, not to mention all the money you'll save. Listen, don't let a lack of skills in the kitchen prevent you from keeping your body healthy and well-fueled. You don't need to make this, you can make this. You don't need to have a giant kitchen full of expensive equipment to make healthy food that tastes good. If you don't know what the hey you're doing in the kitchen, I recommend picking up How to Cook Everything: The Basics by Mark Bittman. This is easily the least intimidating cookbook I've ever seen. Recipes have minimum ingredients, minimum steps, and maximum flavor. The recipes are designed to be templates, so learning how to cook one recipe is actually learning how to cook several, because each recipe is followed by additions and swaps you can use to make simple variations. I've made dozens of recipes from this cookbook, and I've never been disappointed. Link in the description. Mistake number 3, not taking breaks, lunches, and vacations. A lot of remote workers, and if I'm being honest, I struggle with this as well, worry about being visible and responsive so that people don't think they're screwing off while they're working from home. And a lot of times that can manifest as taking shorter or less frequent breaks, lunches, and vacations. And trust me, that's not a good thing. If you show up every day and do your job, you deserve breaks, lunches, and vacations just like everyone else at your company. Not taking them doesn't make you look, feel, or perform like a better worker. All you're doing is shortchanging yourself. Now, every company is different, and I've definitely worked some places where the culture was less respectful of the natural human need for breaks. In that case, and in really any case, it's important to feel for the edges and do some experimenting. Take a short break, take a short lunch, and see what happens. Ask for a day off with lots of advance notice and see what happens. And keep pushing until you feel comfortable taking what's fair. Now, you might end up in a situation where your boss or your team really doesn't feel comfortable with you taking reasonable breaks and vacations. And in that case, you have to be honest with yourself. It might be time to start looking for a different job. Mistake number 2, being available all the time. When the workday is over, put your work equipment away, put your work apps on Do Not Disturb, do whatever you have to do to digitally disconnect from work. When you call it a day, call it a day. It's really important that you do this because if you don't, you're basically teaching your coworkers to disregard and disrespect your personal time. And you may even be inadvertently putting pressure on your team to disregard their own and each other's personal time too. Lastly, mistake number 1, letting your housemates run the show. If you live with people, doesn't matter who they are, roommates, family, romantic partners, anyone, if you live with people, this is the most important mistake to avoid. Often when you're working from home, but you're living with other people, especially people who don't work from home, they can make the mistake of thinking that you are similarly available during work hours the way you are during the evenings and the weekends. And of course, that's not true. But they will mistakenly think that it's true and make requests of you that they think are reasonable that you aren't actually in a position to fulfill. And this misalignment of expectations can cause really bitter conflicts that damage your relationships. It is absolutely crucial that you preempt these kinds of misunderstandings by having an explicit conversation about expectations. You are not just home, you are working from home. So during work hours, work takes priority over everything else. If they want to hang out for story time, ask you to do a chore, ask you to run an errand, you are not necessarily just available for that. Maybe you might be able to do it, but that request goes behind all of your work priorities, and they need to understand that. If you want to get the most out of your precious time here on this beautiful planet, join the Better Crew by subscribing. We're all about getting more done and having more fun. If you're already on the Better Crew and don't want to miss an update, join my newsletter in the link in the description below. That's it. Thank you so much for spending some of your precious time with me today. I'm Phoebe. This is Better with Phoebe. I hope you have a great day and an even better tomorrow. Until next time.